The next model in the exclusive series that I would like to talk about is the MC-A95. This was made to celebrate Autofone's 95th year anniversary. It's another limited model. It's also somewhat a successor to the A90. How did you improve the A95 compared to the A90?
Yeah, it's a successor to the A90. It's obvious if you look at the shape, because the shape of the A90 was very special. So this is basically the same shape. There's some changes, and also I had thoughts about the other cartridge we made in the meantime, especially the MC Anna, where we introduced a non-magnetic armature. So it was sort of in my mind, try to get something from the MC A90 and get something from the MC Anna and combine that somehow.
It doesn't share the same body material, the A95, compared to the A90, right?
No. This is also titanium, the MC A95. Titanium, just like the MC Anna. And also the design has changed slightly. So there were some holes in the MC A90. Those holes are gone by now. So that gave us room inside the front part of the cartridge really to have some more damping area. So that, because the titanium is still much lighter than the stainless steel, so we could do that on this one and still keep a very good mass.
So we have two major improvements. It's the titanium body and it's the non-magnetic or semi-non-magnetic armature. Could you elaborate on the semi-non-magnetic armature?
Well, I was aiming at a totally non-magnetic armature, of course, like in the MC Anna, because that would be really, really nice. But the magnetism of the armature has direct influence on the output voltage. So if I go from a magnetic armature, which was in the MC A90, to a non-magnetic armature that would be nice to have, then the output voltage would be much, much, much too low. So that we could not do, and we could not really improve on the magnetic system to get more output voltage. So I had to make a compromise. So I had to look for a material somewhere in between really magnetic, like iron, and totally non-magnetic, something semi-non-magnetic.
And how do you test this? Is it you actually listening to the different variants, or?
Yeah, it was not so easy to find, because if you look at the suppliers of material, if you look at magnetic material, if you buy that from a supplier, then they state a lot of magnetic properties. So that is pretty easy, we know what we want. But this one, nobody really wants something semi-non-magnetic, so what should they use this for? So we were looking for material used for other things, and then we could not find data, so we had to test it ourselves. So we had to make prototypes, so we really had to cut them, they were laser cut. Then we need to make prototypes and then see what we could get out. So we were through a different kind of materials until we got the right one.
So it is a very special armature we're using in the A95.
It is a very special armature, and also a little bit it's changed regarding the MC-A90, but because again, sort of the windings, the precision and of the windings really is important. So we had the opportunity to change this armature a little bit to make sort of a precision winding of the coil more easy.
Which other elements do we have in the MC-A95?
Well, we have all the ones that is really good in those our exclusive series cartridges. So of course we have a wide range damping system. And we also use this field stabilizing element, FSE.
Maybe you could elaborate a bit on this. We talked about wide range dampening earlier and the benefits. What is the benefit of using FSE in general, or maybe also in this specific cartridge?
Well, FSE is necessary in a cartridge where you have a magnetic or even semi-non-magnetic armature. If you have a totally non-magnetic armature, you don't need it, because the purpose of the field stabilizing element, which is in fact a cylinder made out of copper, and then you have a silver coating, that is sitting around the armature. And the function is that if the armature is moving due to the stylus is in the groove, then this armature is in fact changing the magnetic field inside the air gap, and we do not want that. So the function of this field stabilizing element is to stabilize the field and sort of bring it back to the state where it was before the armature was moving.
And can people hear this? How would you hear this?
Yeah, it was introduced back in the contrapunct C and H, and now we are using it a lot in those exclusive series. So it's about having more sort of more distortion-free sound in the high frequencies. So it will be more clear. You will have a more open and more transparent sound, less distortion.
So we have the A95 with special housing, special non-magnetic system. What does it sound like?
Very nice. So it really has a sort of a lot of the benefits you get from this non-magnetic armature that we've also been using. But it's not the same, but you get really a long way. So you have a really open, detailed sound and this dynamic sound that I'm looking for. Dynamics are so important for music. So this is again about if you listen to something, you know there's a limit somehow when you listen, it's somewhere in your head. So this one again goes beyond this limit. So really a nice sounding dynamic cartridge.
A very good way of celebrating Autofone's 95th years anniversary.